are studying the Avondale area. My name is Ciara. This is Lane, Alan, and Chris. And our engineer is back there. He's not here, but he's here in case you want to field him in the engineering questions.
I'll just add for our guests that we just moved over to the I-71 corridor.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, so here's I-71, which is primarily where we started our study in the revitalization of Avondale. We looked primarily first at how this interchange, we were studying the braided option for the I-71 corridor and then how that would meet the MLK area. And then from that, we looked at Avondale through more of a commercial lens and how that area as a whole would then be, or then could be reinvented with the idea that this interchange is coming in and how that will then overall affect the residents and the commercial and investment in the area. So from that, we then sort of cited three specific areas where commercial development might occur, where we have here Burnett Avenue is already sort of happening. So we considered it, but in the consideration of forest redevelopment being a primary focus in a neighborhood business district. And then we looked at this area, which is the industrial district area of Avondale right now, is possibly a transit-oriented development district with the light rail coming through, and then off of that, some ideas about a streetcar. And then in considering that this would then be a very traffic-oriented commercial corridor of sorts, that this would then become a more suburban office area. So, which is cited in the Go Cincinnati plan. So we were trying to consider some of the ideas that the area and the city had already considered that are needed or necessary.
And then just looking at the neighborhood itself, one of our focuses was housing, and for the most part we've kind of tried to steer housing to the northern portions of Avondale, just for the sheer fact of where we're focusing our commercial development for the neighborhood. Like Ciara said, we're going to do a lot of it with forest, but currently along Reading there is some commercial, but for the most part there's a lot of vacancy to go along with it. And for our plan, we felt that the more we could focus everything up more towards the actual residential portion of the neighborhood, the more successful our plan could then be. And then this district right in here, we kind of focus that to be more of a cultural civic district. Currently, this is where South Avondale Elementary and then Rockdale Academy are. So we thought with pulling with those two major neighborhood institutions, along with a bunch of the churches and the Boys and Girls Club in the area, there was a lot of potential from a more like cultural civic area within that. And then just to go a little bit more into the suburban office area for the southern portion in between MLK and Reading. Currently there's a lot of office and institutional in this area. And then, like we said, very slight amounts of housing. So by kind of pulling that housing maybe more into the north, we can recreate this area as a more suburban office development with a little bit more mixed use styles with more larger office space, drivable. And then we thought of pulling the Civic Garden Center to do a little bit more of like the walkable, friendly area that would create.
And in saying that we're looking at this with a commercial lens, that is not to say that we ignored housing. That there is a pretty abundant housing stock in Avondale, but one of the main issues is that there's a lot of disinvestment, where it's a lot of rental property and minimally owned. I think the percentages are something like 60 to 70% are rented. So you have an extreme disinvestment in the community as a whole. So what we feel by developing these commercial districts and getting people more involved in the economics and the actual development and bringing people into the area, that then there will be more an investment relative to housing. And also we noted a few. This is kind of an aside, but it also goes along with just the general investment in the community. that there are some notable brownfields right along one of our commercial corridors and in our transit-oriented development district that are just underutilized and environmentally, sorry, I'm in the way, kind of environmentally unsound areas right now. So we just kind of noted those again, taking them out of here and showing them specifically as areas for redevelopment.
Okay. And so my major focus was on the forest redevelopment, primarily because the new MLK interchange will likely reduce north and south traffic along Reading Road substantially. A lot of people are using that right now to get to 71 or get from not Ronald Reagan, but Norwood Lateral into the community. So with this new interchange, we feel that there will be a lot more traffic taken away from Reading, and that the commercial area there will kind of dissipate as it already has even further. So I was trying to focus on forest as a link to develop what Sierra will talk about next, which is the Avondale Town Center, which is currently an extremely underutilized property, and then the already Burnett Avenue revitalization plan that they have. And so my focus was on how to link those two together. First of all, as she already discussed, there's a lot of civic and cultural amenities in that area, and with the installation of the MLK interchange, we're granted a new community center. So my focus was right at the tip of Burnett is to kind of put a new Avondale Community Center and to really spawn like that area as a new reinvestment in Avondale as a whole. I have a few case studies that kind of highlight how to do green streetscaping, providing tools like neighborhood organizations to assemble properties and facilitate development, find local lenders for banks and a consortium of businesses, also to make like low interest money available so that this can happen. Basically, I had the project in 3 phases. First would be develop the anchors. The initial investment would be in the community center and what Sierra will talk about, and then kind of not really redevelopment of the community gardens that they already have, but more of just making it a lot more, pretty, making it prettier than it already is. Currently it's a little bit underkept. So then phase 2 would be the acquisition of the land, and then phase 3 would be to kind of reinvent, establish a plan based probably primarily off how they did Burnett Avenue revitalization plan. And then with those 3 plans, get into a mixed-use, high-density commercial corridor with anchoring institutions on each end, and then a civic, like green gardens or just social gathering places in the middle to kind of be able to tie that whole area together. And then lastly, in order to emphasize the need for gathering places and community organizations and whatnot, Cool Town Studios, I don't know if you guys have ever read on that, been on that site. It's a kind of a neighborhood, or it's more of a uppity urban neighborhood revitalization website. Gears you towards links of how to do development, and one thing that they focus on is third places, scenes, and events. And basically it's how do you tie third places, make them establish events like in the community garden center or something like that, and then create a scene. And then so with that scene you get the social investment and the revitalization as well, not just structurally.
And then in the neighborhood business district, I was looking at this as a way for the community to really be invested in the area. That revitalization plans in Avondale are by no means new to them. But